Hi, I'm Store. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video I'm going to give my reading wrap up for the week of January 12th through January 18th. I didn't complete any books this week, so I don't have any reviews. I read parts of 5 books, so I'll talk briefly about those 5 books. I'll talk about some new reading plans I have. I'll talk about a Wobble I completed and what I'm working on. And maybe some other things going on in my life too. First book I read part of this week is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I'm about 33% through this book. The third book in this series, Onyx Storm, is coming out Tuesday, and I did pre-order a copy. Probably won't arrive Tuesday, but it probably arrived not too much long after that. And I need to complete this book before I read that book. That book is the January, I guess must be January, remainder of January, heading to February. Book for Booked and Busy, moderated by Jamie, at Jamie Falk on here. Probably not going to complete Iron Flame by the time I get Onyx Storm because it's quite a long book, but hopefully I can complete it not too much after I get Onyx Storm. The second book I read part of this week is The Complete Tales of H.P. Lovecraft by H.P. Lovecraft. I'm 32% through. I am liking this, but I continue not quite to like it as much as I remember liking it. So, I'm probably going to complete this over time, but I doubt I'll be rereading these stories again. What I'm thinking of doing is maybe looking into other writers of his ilk from that period and maybe reading some of their stuff. Some of his contemporaries who write in the same area he writes in. Third book I read part of is The Light Eaters, How the Unseen World of Plant Intelligence Offers a New Understanding of Life on Earth by Zoe Schlanger. I'm 43% done with this book. I talked about this book before, but it is quite an interesting book. Definitely putting a different perspective on plants. They're way more complex than most of us gave them credit for. There were 2 books I started this week. The first is Boulder by Eva Baltasar. 18% through this. This is the January read of Tia Chu's book club, moderated by Tia Chu, at Tia Chu on here. This is a sapphic romance. I am enjoying it, but it's written in a kind of an interesting style. I don't quite grasp everything said, but I am enjoying it. And the 5th book, and the second one I started this week, is Paranesi by Susanna Clarke. I'm 14% through. This is the book that is the January and February read. It's a bi-monthly book club. The Cozy Book Club, moderated by Stephanie Bookish, at Stephanie Bookish on here. This is a quite interesting read so far. It appears that there is perhaps a dystopian world, but it's early in the book you see that there's only appears to be 2 people alive, at least that 2 people that are known alive, so I'm not sure what happened, but it's quite interesting. I'm not even sure what genre I consider this book, but I am enjoying it so far. Next I just want to talk about some new book plans I have for 2025. First is I happened to see I think it was an Instagram post. I think that's where I first saw it, but I'm not sure. It was the list of the Pen America top 11 banned books in the US for 2024. So I decided that I'm going to read those 11 books. I have 2 of them, so those will be the ones I start with, and then hopefully I can read the rest. Another thing I decided to was Filmtastic February. I saw about this readathon on a video by Roy at Roy Reads Anything. I'll just read what he said, just in case anybody might be interested in joining this readathon. Filmtastic February is a fun reading event that is all about reading film fiction and film nonfiction. Annie at Obscure Book Adventures is the host, and Duncan at Back Away from the Donkey and me are co-hosts. And why not? Announcement. Prompts if you like prompts. Prompt week 1. Fiction novel turned into a film or novel about film and filmmaking. This prompt 1 is the only one I'm actually going to commit to do. And I might not end up reading in that first week, but there's at least 2 books I have that already that are candidates for that. Books that remain to film, so I'll read one if not both of those books, at least sometime in February. And the remaining 3 prompts are ones that I'm not necessarily going to do, but I might do. Consider them. Prompt week 2 is nonfiction biography or autobiography of someone working in the film industry, or for TV or nonfiction book about the film industry. These are the kind of books that I like, so possibly I'll do this one too. But I don't know if I have a book that qualifies for that yet. Prompt week 3 is novelization or movie/TV tie-in. Prompt week 4 is fan magazine or film magazine. And I will put the link to Roy's video in the description of this video. Hopefully I remember. And you can take a look at his video if you're interested. And I just want to talk about some other readathons that I am taking part. I wasn't going to take part in too many things, but I'm going to loosely take part in these. I will read some books in each of the categories. Decided to do this on a conversation I had in the comments of Justin at Trumful Reads, because he's either a co-host or host of all 3, and he's pretty relaxed. He just wants people to read books in these particular categories of these readathons. The first is a storathon, where Justin is one of the co-hosts. I had previously said, or at least I might have added a note on one of my videos, I am going to, not within the time categories, but I will certainly read 4 history books this year, so I'm doing that part of it without constraining myself to the time categories. The second one that Justin is the host and creator of himself is the Science Reading Challenge. I'm going to read some science books in 2025. Matter of fact, right now I am reading a couple science books, so I'm going to read some science books in 2025. And the third is the Philosophy Reading Challenge, also hosted by Justin. I'm going to read some philosophy books in 2025. I do have some, thanks to Justin. One of his, or maybe more than his, one of his previous videos got me interested in philosophy books. So I have maybe 3 already to read that I can read without need to get new books. So I will try to read those books in 2025. Next I want to talk about the Wobble I completed. This is Willow the Fawn. I think Willow came out pretty good. Got some spots on the back. Kind of a challenging one, but I think she came out pretty good. Willow was day 5 of the Wobble's Advent Calendar. I realize it's January 18th as I tape this, and it's a Advent Calendar, but so be it. And day 6 of the Wobble's Advent Calendar is Tiny Skis. Tiny Skis, when they're done, they should look something like this. And so far, I've done the skis. Came out pretty good. One is better than the other, but came out pretty good. These are Beginner Plus, which is their second category, and I wondered why, but as I'm doing them, I can see why they rated them Beginner Plus. As far as some other things I did this week, I did visit a local mall, and while there, I visited the Build-A-Bear store. A friend of mine gave me a gift card, so wanted to use the gift card. I went to the Build-A-Bear shop. I'll give more details about the Lego set and the Build-A-Bear experience in a later video. And not too far from this mall is a Barnes & Noble, so I went there. Did buy 8 books, kind of goes against the read what you own challenge I'm trying to do, although I knew I'm going to go to a bookstore on occasion, and if I do, I'm going to buy some books. So I will probably do a haul in another video, maybe combine it with talking about the Lego store visit and the Build-A-Bear visit. The other thing I did this week is I had purchased a ticket to a Barnes & Noble virtual event, and that was Barnes & Noble Midday Mystery Presents Grady Hendrix, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, and that occurred Tuesday. Along with it comes a autographed copy of the book, and it's a Zoom meeting. You don't show up in the Zoom meeting, but you can comment and ask questions. I thought what it was going to be was that he's going to read passages from the book. What it really was he discussed like the history of witchcraft. A lot of it was what happened, the persecution of suspected witches. In a more current times, it was a little bit of talk about people who thought they were witches. But it was really an interesting talk. He went for an hour doing it, and quite interesting. Not what I expected, but probably the best Barnes & Noble virtual event I've attended. Although the first one might take the cake for that, because if I didn't attend the first one, I wouldn't have started following new booktubers. I talked about that in several videos. But it was quite an interesting talk. I've not read anything from Grady Hendrix, but this will be the second book of his I got, and want to make an effort to read his books, because he is a quite noted author, quite lauded. Other than that, I had the crown put in my tooth, the temporary one taken out. If you recall, those who watched my previous video talking about it, was not a good experience with the dentist before. When the temporary one was put in, he was berating me. I don't know if I said that. But this one, it went all right, and the new crown's in, so glad to get that done. There's more work that needs to be done, but I think the crown is the most difficult and the one that takes most effort, so it's good to get that done. I'd be interested in knowing how your reading week went. If you're interested in telling me, please reply in the comments. I'd like to know. I hope you have a great reading week, and I hope you have a great week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe. Please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.